The gunshot cracked through the night like a whip. Adanna Nwosu stood at the edge of the pier, rain soaking through her clothes, staring down at black water 15 feet below. In her pocket was a letter to her mother in Lagos. It said, "Mama, I'm sorry. I tried. I wasn't strong enough." She stepped into empty air. The fall lasted 2 seconds. The impact knocked the breath from her lungs. The cold seized her like a fist. She sank fast, her heavy coat pulling her down. She didn't fight it. This was what she wanted. Peace. Silence. An end. Then something grabbed her coat. A hand. Strong. Desperate. She was being pulled upward through the darkness. They broke the surface together. "I've got you," a man's voice said in Korean. "Stay with me." He dragged her to the pier. Hands reached down. They hauled her up. She collapsed, coughing violently. Someone pressed down on her chest. 30 compressions. "Breathe. Come on." Her vision cleared. The man kneeling over her had dark hair, sharp features, and cold eyes that looked almost afraid. Behind him stood 3 men holding guns. "Boss, we have to move," one said urgently. "Sujin's men are coming." The man ignored him. He stared at Adanna like he was trying to memorize her face. "She's a witness," another man said. "We can't leave her." "Then we won't." The man stood. "We're taking her with us." "Min-Jae, think about what you're doing." "I watched my sister drown when I was 20, Min-Jae said quietly. "I was too slow then. I'm not too slow now. This woman stays alive." He scooped Adanna up and carried her to a black SUV. They drove into the night. "Who are you?" she whispered. Min-Jae looked at her with empty eyes. Someone who just made the biggest mistake of his life. That mistake would cost him everything. His empire. His power. His reputation. Everything he'd spent 8 years building. Because Min-Jae Han wasn't just any man. He was the Wolf of Daesan, the most powerful criminal in the city. And he'd just saved the life of a suicidal artist who would teach him something more dangerous than any weapon. How to care. This is the true story of how a rescue became a war. How a mafia boss fell in love with his captive. And how that love destroyed the empire he'd killed to build. Welcome back, K-Soul family. You know how deep this story's about to get. If you want to see how one act of mercy can bring down an entire criminal organization, subscribe now, hit the like button and turn on notifications. Your encouragement goes a long. What happens next is a story of violence, sacrifice, and impossible choices. Let's begin. They drove for 20 minutes through narrow streets and industrial areas. Adanna's teeth wouldn't stop chattering. Her entire body felt like ice. Shock was setting in. Or hypothermia. Maybe both. The SUV turned onto a private drive winding up a hillside. At the top sat a compound. High walls. Security cameras. A large modern house overlooking the ocean. They pulled through a gate that opened automatically. Min-Jae got out and came around to her side. "Can you walk?" Adanna tried to stand. Her legs gave out immediately. Min-Jae caught her and lifted her again. The front door opened before they reached it. A woman stood there. Early 30s. Sharp eyes. Professional clothes. "Jiwoo," Min-Jae said. "I need your help." Jiwoo took one look at Adanna, and her expression shifted. Understanding. She stepped aside. "Bring her upstairs. Second room on the left. I'll get towels and dry clothes." Min-Jae carried Adanna upstairs and into a bedroom. Simple but clean. White walls. A window overlooking the dark ocean. He set her on the bed. "Jiwoo will take care of you. Do what she says." He turned to leave. "Wait," Adanna said. Her voice was hoarse. "You can't just. Get warm. Get dry. We'll talk tomorrow." "I don't want to be here." Min-Jae stopped in the doorway. He didn't turn around. "I know," he said quietly. "But you're alive. That's going to have to be enough for now." He left. The door closed. A lock clicked. Jiwoo appeared with towels and clothes. She studied Adanna with a clinical eye. "Can you undress yourself?" "Yes." "Good. Get out of those wet clothes. Dry off completely. Put these on." She pointed to a sweatshirt and pants. "When you're done, get under the blankets. Your body temperature is too low." "Who are you?" Adanna asked. "Someone who's seen Min-Jae do a lot of stupid things. This might be the stupidest." Jiwoo moved toward the door. "There's a bathroom through there. Hot water works. Use it." Wait. Please. What's happening? Why did he bring me here? Yivo paused. Her expression softened slightly. Because he's an idiot who thinks he can save everyone. Now get warm before you die of hypothermia. That would make this whole rescue pretty pointless. She left. Adanna peeled off her wet clothes with shaking hands. Every movement hurt. Her lungs burned. Her throat was raw. She made it to the bathroom and stood under hot water for 15 minutes until feeling returned to her fingers and toes. Until the shaking stopped. When she emerged, she put on the clothes Jiwoo had left. Too big but warm and dry. She climbed into bed and pulled the blankets around herself. Before sleep took her, one thought cut through the fog. She'd tried to die tonight. A stranger had stopped her. Now she was locked in a room surrounded by armed men who spoke a language she barely understood. She should have been terrified. Instead, she felt nothing at all. When Adanna woke, sunlight streamed through the window. For a moment she didn't know where she was. Then it came rushing back. The pier. The water. The man who pulled her out. She sat up slowly. Her body ached everywhere. The door opened. Jiwoo entered carrying a tray with soup, rice and tea. You're awake. Good. She set the tray down. Eat. You need calories. What time is it? 2 in the afternoon. You slept 14 hours. Adanna stared. 14 hours? Your body was shutting down from cold and shock. Sleep was the best thing. Jiwoo sat by the window. How do you feel? Like I drowned. You almost did. If Min-Jae hadn't pulled you out when he did, you'd be dead. The bluntness hit hard. Dead. She'd been seconds from dead. I didn't ask him to save me, Adanna said quietly. No. You didn't. But he did anyway. Jiwoo crossed her arms. Now we have to figure out what to do with you. Let me go. Can't do that. Why not? Jiwoo pulled out her phone and showed Adanna a news article in Korean. The photo was clear. Police tape. The pier. A body covered with a white sheet. A dock worker was found dead near that pier last night. Shot twice. Police think there was a witness. They're looking for a foreign woman seen in the area. Adanna's blood went cold. I didn't see anything. Doesn't matter what you saw. Matters what people think you saw. Jiwoo put the phone away. Sujin Park runs the rival organization in Daesan. His men were shooting at Min-Jae's crew last night. If they think you witnessed their operation, they'll kill you. And if police find you first, they'll arrest you and put your name in the system. Which means Sujin will know exactly where you are within an hour. So I'm trapped here. For now, yes. Adanna looked toward the window. The ocean stretched endlessly. Beautiful and deadly. How long? Until Min-Jae figures out how to clean this up. A week. Maybe 2. And if I refuse? If I just leave? Jiwoo's expression hardened. Then you'll be dead by tomorrow. Your choice. The door opened. Min-Jae walked in. He looked different in daylight. Cleaned up. Black shirt. Jeans. But his eyes were the same. Cold. Calculating. He spoke to Jiwoo in rapid Korean. She nodded and left. Min-Jae stood by the window, hands in his pockets, staring at the ocean. Do you understand what Jiwoo told you? He asked in English. That I'm a prisoner. That you're alive. He turned. There's a difference. Not much of one. You wanted to die last night. I stopped that. Now you're angry at me for it. I didn't ask for your help. People who are drowning rarely do. Min-Jae moved closer. I'm going to ask you questions. Answer honestly. Or what? Or this gets more complicated for both of us. He pulled a chair over and sat. What's your name? Adanna. Adanna Nwosu. Nigerian? Yes. Why are you in Korea? I came 3 years ago. Student visa. To study art. And the visa? Expired. 6 months ago. Family here? No. No one. Money? She laughed bitterly. None. So you came to that pier to kill yourself because you're alone, broke, and illegal in a country that doesn't want you. The bluntness stung. But it was true. Yes, she said quietly. Min-Jae was silent for a long moment. Then he leaned back. My sister's name was Min-Seo. She was 15 when she drowned. I was 20. We were at a river with friends. She went swimming. Got caught in the current. By the time I realized she was in trouble, she was already under. I dove in but I couldn't find her in the murky water. By the time I did, it was too late. Adanna didn't know what to say. I've lived with that for 15 years, Min-Jae continued, wondering if I'd been faster, if I'd paid more attention, if I'd just looked at her 1 second sooner. He looked at Adanna. Last night when I saw you fall, I didn't think. I just moved. And this time I was fast enough. So you saved me to make up for her. Maybe. Or maybe I just don't let people die in front of me anymore. He stood. Either way, you're alive. And you're going to stay that way until I can get you out of Korea safely. I don't want your charity. This isn't charity. This is survival. Mine and yours. Min-Jae moved toward the door. You'll stay here. You'll do what Ji-woo tells you. You won't try to leave. And in a week or two, when things calm down, I'll give you new papers and a plane ticket. You go home to Nigeria. You forget you ever met me. We both move on. And if I say no? He looked at her one last time. Then you're more suicidal than I thought. He left. Adanna sat alone staring at the soup. She should eat. Her body needed fuel. But her appetite was gone. She tried to die last night. That decision had landed her in something far more dangerous than poverty or deportation. She'd been saved by a mafia boss. Locked in his house. Told her life was in danger from people she'd never met. And the worst part? She had no choice but to believe him. 3 days passed. Adanna barely left the room. Ji-woo brought meals 3 times a day. Fresh clothes appeared in the closet. But the door stayed locked. On the 4th day, Ji-woo came in carrying art supplies. Sketchbooks. Pencils. Charcoal. Min-Jae said you're an artist, Ji-woo said, setting them on the desk. Thought you might want these. Adanna stared at the supplies. She hadn't drawn in months. Hadn't had the money. Hadn't had the will. Why? Because sitting in a room doing nothing makes people crazy. And I don't need you going crazy. Ji-woo moved toward the door. Also, there's a sitting area downstairs. You can use it during the day. But you don't leave the house. And if anyone comes over, you stay up here. Understood. Am I a guest or a prisoner? Both. Ji-woo's expression softened. Look, I know this is hard. But Min-Jae is trying to keep you alive. That's more than most people would do. After Ji-woo left, Adanna picked up a pencil. It felt foreign in her hand. She opened the sketchbook to a blank page. Her hand moved without thinking. Lines formed. Shapes emerged. A man pulling a woman from dark water. His face strained with effort. Her body limp. The ocean around them black and endless. She stared at the drawing. At the desperation in the man's face. The resignation in the woman's. This was her life now. Suspended between drowning and being saved. Neither fully alive nor fully dead. She set the pencil down and went downstairs. The house was larger than she'd realized. High ceilings. Modern furniture. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. Beautiful and cold. Like no one actually lived here. She found the sitting area. A couch facing the windows. A bookshelf. A television. She sat down and stared at the water. The same water that had almost been her grave. You're allowed down here now? She jumped. Min-Jae stood in the doorway holding coffee. Ji-woo said I could use this room, Adanna said. Good. Better than staying locked up. He moved to the window. How are you feeling? Like a prisoner. You'll get over it. Will I? Min-Jae glanced at her. You got over wanting to die. This should be easier. The casualness stung. Like her suicide attempt was just another problem he'd solved. You don't know anything about me, Adanna said. I know enough. Nigerian. Artist. Overstayed your visa. Ran out of money. No support system. No options. He sipped his coffee. I know what desperation looks like. And what do you know about desperation? More than you'd think. Min-Jae set his coffee down. I grew up in Daesan. My father was a dock worker. Drank himself to death when I was 16. Left debts. Loan sharks came for our house. My mother, my sister, everything. I was 16 and I had 2 choices. Let them take everything. Or find a way to pay them back. So you became a criminal. I became a survivor. His voice was hard. I did things I'm not proud of. Hurt people who probably didn't deserve it. Built an organization that runs half this port. And I did it all so my family could be safe. Except it didn't work. My sister died anyway. And my mother followed her 6 months later. Heart attack. Or broken heart. Doesn't matter which. Adanna said nothing. So don't tell me I don't know desperation, Min-Jae continued. I know exactly what it feels like to have no good choices. To feel like the world is crushing you and there's no way out. The difference between us is I chose to fight. You chose to quit. That's not fair. Life's not fair. You know that better than anyone. He picked up his coffee. You've got talent. Jiwoo showed me the drawing you did. The one of us in the water. It's good. Adanna hadn't realized Jiwoo had seen it. The invasion should have angered her. Instead she felt nothing. It doesn't matter, she said. Talent doesn't pay bills. No. But it's something. And something is better than nothing. Min-Jae started to leave, then paused. There's food in the kitchen. Help yourself. And if you need anything, tell Jiwoo. What I need is to leave. Not yet. Soon. When? When I say so. He left her alone with the ocean and her thoughts. On the 7th day, everything changed. Adanna was sketching in the sitting room when she heard voices from another part of the house. Men speaking Korean. Urgent. Tense. She set down her pencil and moved quietly toward the sound. The voices came from Min-Jae's office. The door was partially open. She could see inside. Min-Jae, Taeyong, and 2 other men stood around a laptop. It's definitely Pidgin English mixed with Korean, Taeyong was saying. We can't make out half of it. What about the translator we used last time? He's in Seoul. Won't get here until tomorrow. Min-Jae swore. Tomorrow's too late. If this is what I think it is. Excuse me. They all turned. Adanna stood in the doorway. You shouldn't be here, Taeyong said. I heard you mention Pidgin English, Adanna said. I speak it. Nigerian Pidgin. If you need a translation. Min-Jae stared at her. You understand Pidgin? It's common in Nigeria. I grew up speaking it. Min-Jae and Taeyong exchanged a look. Then Min-Jae gestured her inside. Close the door. She did. He turned the laptop toward her and pressed play. A man's voice came through the speakers. English mixed with Pidgin mixed with Korean. Adanna listened carefully. Play it again, she said. Min-Jae did. This time she understood most of it. Her blood went cold. Well, Min-Jae asked. They're planning to hit one of your shipments. Thursday night. Pier 7. Midnight. They mentioned someone called the Wolf's new pet. The room went silent. They know about her, Taeyong said. How? Min-Jae's voice was sharp. Does it matter? They know. Which means she's leverage now. Min-Jae's jaw tightened. He looked at her. You're sure that's what they said? Yes. They also mentioned bringing enough firepower to end this. I think they're planning something big. Min-Jae closed the laptop. Taeyong moved the shipment. Changed the route. Double the security. And her? Taeyang gesturet et Adanna. She stays here. Under guard. 24/7. Min-Jae. That's final. Taeyong's expression darkened, but he nodded. The men left. Min-Jae stood alone with Adanna. Thank you, he said quietly. You probably just saved a lot of lives. I didn't do it for you. I know. You did it because you were eavesdropping. He almost smiled. Still, thank you. You said my staying here was temporary. That I'd be safe. Adanna's voice shook. But they know about me. They're calling me your pet. How is that safe? It's not. Min-Jae's honesty was brutal. Your being here put a target on your back. I'm sorry. I thought I could control this. I was wrong. So what now? Now I end this war with Sujin before it ends you. How? Min-Jae looked at her with those cold, dark eyes. By giving him what he wants. Me. 3 days later, Min-Jae's shipment arrived at Pier 7 without incident. Sujin's men never showed. The ambush Adanna had warned him about never materialized. Min-Jae moved the shipment precisely because of her translation. It saved millions. It saved lives. And it made him look at her differently. She wasn't just a rescue anymore. She was useful. Jiwoo noticed the change immediately. He's going to ask you to stay, Jiwoo said one morning while bringing breakfast. Stay? Here. Not as a prisoner. As part of the team. Jiwoo set the tray down. You helped him. He respects that. And respect from Min-Jae is rare. I don't want to be part of this world. Then you should have stayed in the water. The bluntness hit hard. But it was true. She'd been pulled into this world the moment Min-Jae dove in after her. There was no going back. That night, Min-Jae found her painting in the sitting room. She'd been working on a new piece. A wolf standing at the edge of dark water. Drowning. Eyes open but sinking. Is that supposed to be me? He asked. She didn't turn around. Does it bother you? No. It's accurate. He moved closer, studying the painting. You see things clearly. That's dangerous. Why? Because most people in my world survive by not seeing. By looking away. You don't look away. Maybe I should. Too late for that. Min-Jae sat on the couch. I need to tell you something. Sujin escalated. He sent a message today. Says he's willing to negotiate territory. That's good, isn't it? It's a trap. He doesn't negotiate. He eliminates. Min-Jae leaned forward. I'm going to meet him anyway. Because if I don't, this war continues. More people die. Including you eventually. Don't go. I have to. Then let me leave. Get me out of Korea before you do something stupid. Min-Jae looked at her. Really looked at her. I could do that, he said slowly. Jiwoo can have papers ready in 24 hours. Flight to Lagos via Manila. Cash. Everything you need. Then do it. But there's a problem. What? I don't want you to go. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Impossible. Adanna set down her brush. What are you saying? I'm saying that for the first time in 15 years, I don't feel like I'm drowning. And it's because of you. Min-Jae stood. You asked me once why I saved you. The truth is I don't know. Maybe it was guilt over my sister. Maybe it was instinct. But now? Now I'm glad I did. Because you see me. Not the boss. Not the criminal. Adanna just made a choice that will change everything. Before we see what it cost them both, let me ask you. Would you have stayed or left? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every word. And if you're invested in this story, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us bring you more incredible true stories like this one. Now let's see what happens when love collides with a criminal empire. The next morning, everything went wrong. Adanna woke to shouting. Doors slamming. Running footsteps. She threw on clothes and rushed downstairs. Jiwoo was there on the phone, speaking rapid Korean. Her face was pale. What's happening? Adanna demanded. Jiwoo ended the call. Taeyang. He's been working with Sujin. Leaked Min-Jae's meeting location. It's a trap. The world tilted. What? Taeyang sold us out. Sujin's men are already moving. They're going to hit the meeting site and kill Min-Jae. Where is Min-Jae now? On his way there. We tried calling. He's not answering. Then we have to stop him. We can't. Sujin has men on every road leading to the port. If we go there, we die. So we just let him walk into an ambush? Jiwoo's expression was anguished. I don't know what else to do. Adanna grabbed Jiwoo's arm. Where's the meeting? Warehouse near Pier 12. Why? Because I'm not letting him die for saving me. Jiwoo stared at her. You can't be serious. You'll be killed. Maybe. But I'd rather die trying than live knowing I did nothing. Adanna's voice was steady. There has to be another way in. A route Sujin's men aren't watching. Yivo hesitated. Then pulled out her phone and opened a map. There's a service tunnel. Runs under the old dock district. Comes up 3 buildings from the warehouse. It's narrow. Dark. Flooding in some sections. Can we get there? I can. You. I'm coming. You don't know what you're walking into. I know exactly what I'm walking into. The same water Min-Jae pulled me out of. Except this time I'm choosing to jump in. Adanna met her eyes. Are you going to help me or not? Jiwoo studied her for a long moment. Then nodded. Get a coat. Something dark. We leave in 2 minutes. They took a different car. Smaller. Unmarked. Jiwoo drove fast through back streets, avoiding main roads. Adanna's heart hammered but her hands were steady. For 2 weeks she'd been suspended between death and life. Between drowning and breathing. Between giving up and fighting. Now she was choosing. They reached the tunnel entrance 15 minutes later. An old maintenance access hidden behind a rusted fence. Jiwoo cut through the chain with bolt cutters and pulled the gate open. Stay close, Jiwoo said. Watch your footing. Some sections are unstable. They descended into darkness. Jiwoo turned on a flashlight. The tunnel was exactly as described. Narrow. Dark. Water dripping from overhead pipes. The smell of rust and decay. They moved quickly. Adanna's breath echoed off concrete walls. Why are you doing this? Jiwoo asked suddenly. Doing what? Risking your life for him. You barely know him. He risked his life for me when he didn't know me at all. That's different. How? Jiwoo was quiet. Because he's used to violence. Used to danger. You're not. You're an artist. This isn't your world. It became my world the moment he pulled me out of that water. Adanna kept walking. And maybe I'm tired of being someone who runs from things. Maybe I want to be someone who runs toward them instead. Jiwoo said nothing. But Adanna thought she saw something like respect in the other woman's eyes. They reached the end 20 minutes later. An iron ladder led up to street level. Jiwoo climbed first. Pushed open a grate. Looked around. Clear. Come on. They emerged in an alley 3 buildings from the warehouse. Adanna could hear voices. Engines. The sound of men moving into position. Jiwoo pulled her behind a dumpster. Listen carefully. Sujin has at least 20 men here. Maybe more. We can't fight them. Best we can do is get to Min-Jae and warn him before the shooting starts. How do we get inside? There's a loading door on the east side. Should be unlocked. That's how Min-Jae was supposed to enter. Then that's how we enter. They moved through shadows. Staying low. Staying quiet. Adanna's pulse was everywhere. They reached the loading door. Jiwoo tested it. Unlocked. She eased it open. Inside was darkness and the smell of oil. Empty shipping containers stacked to the ceiling. Catwalks overhead. And voices echoing from somewhere deeper. Jiwoo pulled a gun from her jacket. Handed Adanna a second one. Do you know how to use this? No. Then don't. Just hold it. If someone sees you, they might hesitate. Jiwoo moved forward. Stay behind me. If shooting starts, run. Don't look back. Just run. They crept through the warehouse, following the sound of voices. Getting closer. Then they saw him. Min-Jae stood in the center of an open space. Alone. Hands at his sides. Facing a group of men. Sujin Park stood at the front. Mid-40s. Expensive suit. Cruel smile. I appreciate you coming, Min-Jae, Sujin was saying in Korean. Yivo whispered translation to Adanna. Shows you still have some honor left. You said you wanted to negotiate, Min-Jae replied. His voice was calm. Too calm. Elite. Sujin gestured. His men raised their weapons. Did you really think I'd share Daesan with you? After you've been bleeding my operations for 8 years. Then why the meeting? Because I wanted to see your face when you realized you'd lost. Sujin's smile widened. And I wanted you to know it was your own man who betrayed you. Taeyong sends his regards. Min-Jae's expression didn't change. Taeyong was always loyal to power. Not to me. I should have seen it sooner. You should have. But you got soft. Started caring about things. About people. Sujin laughed. I heard about your little Nigerian pet. The one you pulled from the harbor. That's what did it, wasn't it? Made you weak. Made you human. Caring about people doesn't make you weak. No. But it makes you vulnerable. And vulnerability is the same as death in our world. Then I guess I'm already dead. Sujin raised his hand. His men took aim. Any last words? Min-Jae looked up at the ceiling. At the catwalks. Like he was searching for something. Or someone. Yeah, he said quietly. I'm sorry. Adanna realized what he was doing. He knew this was a trap. Knew he was walking into his own execution. And he came anyway. To end it. To protect everyone else. To protect her. She stepped out from behind the shipping container. Don't. Every head turned. Every gun swiveled toward her. Min-Jae's face went white. Adanna, no. The Nigerian, Sujin said, delighted. Even better. I was going to have to send men to find you. Now you've delivered yourself. Let him go, Adanna said. Her voice shook but her feet stayed planted. This is between you two. I'm not part of it. You became part of it the moment he saved you. Sujin gestured. Two of his men moved toward her. Min-Jae took a step forward. Touch her and I'll kill every single one of you. You're not in a position to make threats. Try me. Sujin studied Min-Jae, then smiled slowly. You really do care about her. How pathetic. That's when Jiwoo opened fire. The first shot took out the lights overhead. Darkness flooded the warehouse. Chaos erupted. Shouting. Running. Muzzle flashes lighting up the space in strobing bursts. Adanna felt hands grab her, pulling her down. Min-Jae's voice in her ear. Stay low. Move. They ran. Bullets tore through the air where they'd been standing. Jiwoo was somewhere behind them, firing to cover their escape. Return fire echoed like thunder. They made it to a side door. Min-Jae kicked it open. They spilled into an alley. The car, Jiwoo shouted, appearing beside them. East parking lot. They ran. Behind them, Sujin's men poured out of the warehouse. More gunfire. A bullet hit a wall 6 inches from Adanna's head. Concrete chips exploded. They reached the parking lot. Jiwoo's car was there. They threw themselves inside. Jiwoo started the engine and floored it. Tires screamed. More bullets punched through the rear window. Then they were on the street, racing away, leaving the warehouse and the gunfire behind. Nobody spoke for 5 minutes. Finally, Min-Jae turned to Adanna. His face was furious. What were you thinking? I was thinking you were about to die. So you decided to die with me? I decided not to let you die for me. Adanna's hands were shaking now. Adrenaline crashing. You jumped into the water to save me. I jumped into your world to save you. We're even. We're not even. You could have been killed. Both of you. He looked at Jiwoo. You helped her. She was going with or without me. I chose with. Min-Jae put his head in his hands. This is insane. All of this is insane. Welcome to the last 2 weeks of my life, Adanna said. Despite everything, Min-Jae laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. Then he reached over and pulled Adanna toward him. Held her tight. Don't ever do that again. Don't walk into ambushes and I won't have to. Deal. Jiwoo glanced in the rearview mirror. We have a problem. Sujin's men are following us. 2 cars. Maybe more. Lose them. Working on it. The car swerved through narrow streets, taking corners too fast, running red lights. The chase lasted 10 minutes. Then Jiwoo made a sharp turn into an underground parking garage, killed the lights, drove down to the lowest level and parked behind a concrete pillar. They sat in darkness, listening, waiting. Engines roared past overhead, kept going, faded. They'd lost them. For now. We can't go back to the house, Min-Jae said. Sujin knows where it is. I have a safe location, Jiwoo said. Small apartment. Off the grid. We can regroup there. How long until Sujin finds it? A day. Maybe 2 if we're lucky. Min-Jae was quiet, thinking. He won't stop. Not now. This became personal the moment Adanna showed up. So what do we do? Adanna asked. We end this. Permanently. Min-Jae looked at her. But that means I'm going to have to destroy everything I built. My organization. My territory. All of it. Why? Because that's the only way to take away Sujin's reason to come after us. If I have nothing, I'm not a threat. I'm just a man. And he can't justify a war against a man who's already surrendered. You'd give up your empire? I don't have an empire anymore. Taeyong's betrayal broke it. Half my men won't trust me now. The other half will defect to Sujin, or go independent. It's over. His voice was calm, resigned. The only question is whether I go down fighting or walk away. And if you walk away? Then Sujin wins. He takes over Daesan, controls the port, makes millions. Min-Jae met her eyes. But you live. I live. We disappear and he has no reason to follow. You'd do that? Give up everything. I already did. The moment I pulled you out of that water. He touched her face gently. You asked me once why I saved you. The truth is, I think you saved me. You showed me there's more to life than power and fear. That caring about someone isn't weakness. It's the only thing that makes any of this worth surviving. Adanna felt tears on her face. She didn't know when she'd started crying. So what now? Now we run. We find somewhere Sujin can't reach. We start over. Min-Jae looked at Jiwoo. You coming? Yevo smiled. Someone has to keep you two idiots alive. They drove to Jiwoo's safe apartment. Small. But hidden. They'd be safe for a day or two. Time enough to plan their next move. That night, Adanna couldn't sleep. Too much adrenaline. Too many questions. She stood at the window, looking out at the city lights. Min-Jae found her there. Can't sleep either? He asked. No. He stood beside her. Close but not touching. I'm sorry. For all of this. You didn't ask for any of it. Neither did you. I chose this life. You didn't. I chose to stay. That was on me. She looked at him. Do you regret it? Saving me? No. Never. His voice was certain. Do you regret staying? Adanna thought about it. About the pier. The water. The darkness she'd wanted to sink into. About the last 2 weeks. The fear. The danger. The feeling of being alive for the first time in years. No, she said. I don't. Min-Jae took her hand. But this? This isn't loss. This is everything I never knew I wanted. Everything I thought someone like me could never have. You're not upset? Upset. He laughed through tears. Adanna, you've given me a second chance at life. And now you're giving me a reason to live it. How could I be anything but grateful? She sobbed with relief. I'm terrified, she admitted. I don't know how to be a mother. Then we'll figure it out together. The same way we figured out everything else. He placed his hand over her stomach again. Our child. Born free. Born into light instead of darkness. He kissed her forehead. Thank you, he whispered. For staying. For loving me. For giving me this. We pulled each other out, she said. And now we're giving someone else the chance to never drown at all. That night, Adanna sketched while Min-Jae cooked dinner. Not drowning this time. Just a simple drawing of 3 people holding hands. A family. Min-Jae looked over her shoulder and smiled. It's perfect, he said. And it was. For months later. The apartment in Busan was small but filled with light. Large windows overlooking the ocean. Hardwood floors covered with paint stains. Canvases everywhere in various stages of completion. Adanna stood at her easel, working on a new piece. A series she was calling Resurrection. Images of water. Of drowning. Of hands reaching through darkness. Of survival. A gallery downtown had agreed to show her work next month. Her first real exhibition. The owner had seen her paintings and called them raw and powerful. Said people needed to see them. Behind her the door opened. Min-Jae entered carrying groceries. His hair was longer now. No more expensive clothes. Just jeans and a simple shirt. He looked younger. Lighter. How's the painting? He asked, setting bags on the kitchen counter. Almost done. She stepped back to study it. What do you think? He came to look. The painting showed a man and woman underwater. Him pulling her up. Her pulling him toward the surface. Both of them fighting toward the light together. It's perfect, he said. Liar. But I love you for it. She turned to face him. 6 months pregnant already. Wearing the silver wolf pendant he'd given her. I got a call today. From the gallery. They want to extend the show. Maybe make it permanent. Min-Jae smiled. That's incredible. And there's something else. She picked up a newspaper from the table. Pointed to a small article. Anonymous donor gives 5 million won to Daesan Dock Workers Relief Fund. Min-Jae said nothing. You couldn't help yourself, could you? Old habits. You promised you were done with that world. I am. But that doesn't mean I stop caring about the people in it. He put his arms around her. Around their child. Some things are worth fighting for. Even from a distance. Adanna leaned into him. You're impossible. You knew that when you decided to stay. I did. And I'd make the same choice again. They stood there in the light-filled apartment. 2 people who'd been lost. Who'd found each other in the worst possible way. Who'd built something new from the wreckage of their old lives. Outside, the ocean rolled endlessly. The same water that had tried to claim them both. The same water that had brought them together. Adanna looked at the painting on her easel. At the figures fighting toward the surface. Toward air. Toward life. She'd titled it The Wolf and the Artist. But she could have called it Survival. Or sacrifice? Or simply love? Because in the end, that's what it was. A love born from chaos. From drowning. From two people who'd saved each other when saving themselves seemed impossible. She picked up her brush and added one final detail. A small point of light at the top of the painting. Breaking through the water. Illuminating the darkness. Hope. Min-Jae watched her work. What are you adding? The ending, she said. Every story needs one. And what's ours? She set down the brush and turned to face him. Put his hand on her stomach where their child was growing. Where new life was beginning. We don't drown, she said simply. That's our ending. We don't drown. He kissed her forehead. Her cheeks. Her lips. No, he agreed. We don't. Outside, the sun set over Busan. The city lights began to glow. And in a small apartment filled with paintings and possibility, two people who'd been drowning learned what it meant to finally breathe. 3 months later, their daughter was born. They named her Min-Seo. After the sister Min-Jae had lost. After the girl whose memory had driven him to save a stranger on a rainy night. She was beautiful. Perfect. A promise that good things could grow from darkness. The gallery show opened to strong reviews. People stood in front of Adanna's paintings and wept. Said they'd never seen survival portrayed so honestly. So painfully. So hopefully. One painting sold immediately. The one of the drowning wolf. A collector from Seoul paid twice the asking price. Said it reminded him that even the strongest predators sometimes need saving. Min-Jae stood in the gallery watching people move through Adanna's work. Watching them see her. See her talent. See her story. Jiwoo appeared beside him. She's incredible. She is. You did good, Min-Jae. Getting her out. Giving her this. I didn't give her anything. She did this herself. You gave her a reason to keep living. That's not nothing. Min-Jae looked at Jiwoo. Thank you. For helping us. For risking everything. You pulled me and my brother out of debt 7 years ago. I owed you. You don't owe me anything anymore. That life is over. Good. Jiwoo smiled. Because civilian life looks good on you. She walked away to admire more paintings. Min-Jae found Adanna standing in front of the final piece in the series. The one with the point of light breaking through the water. How does it feel? He asked. Seeing them all together? Terrifying. Amazing. Real. She took his hand. Like I finally became the person I was supposed to be. Who's that? Someone who doesn't run from the hard things. Someone who fights. Someone who survives. She looked at him. Someone who loves. You were always that person. You just needed to remember. They stood together in the gallery, surrounded by images of drowning and rescue, of darkness and light, of two lives that had collided in the worst possible moment, and somehow created something beautiful. Later that night, back in their apartment, Min-Jae stood on the balcony holding his daughter. She was asleep, peaceful, unaware of how close she'd come to never existing. Adanna joined him, leaned against his shoulder. Do you ever think about that night? She asked. The pier? Every day. Do you wish you'd made a different choice? Min-Jae looked down at his daughter. At the woman beside him. At the life they'd built from nothing. No, he said. Not for a second. Even though it cost you everything? It didn't cost me everything. It cost me an empire I never wanted in the first place. He kissed the top of Adanna's head. And it gave me everything that matters. She was quiet for a moment. I've been thinking about what to do with the money from the paintings. And I want to start a foundation. For immigrants in Korea. Artists especially. People like me who came here with dreams and ran out of options. Give them resources. Support. A way forward that doesn't end at a pier. Min-Jae smiled. That's perfect. You'll help. Always. They stood on the balcony as the city lights reflected off the ocean. As their daughter slept between them. As the life they'd fought for stretched out ahead of them. Uncertain. Difficult. But theirs. In the distance, ships moved through the harbor. The same harbor where everything had started. Where a woman had tried to end her life and a man had refused to let her. That night changed them both. Destroyed one life. Created another. And now, standing in the aftermath, they understood something that few people ever learn. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes the person you save ends up saving you back. And sometimes the only way to find your life is to lose everything you thought it was supposed to be. The ocean rolled beneath them. Dark. Endless. Beautiful. The same water that had almost claimed them. The same water that had brought them together. But they weren't drowning anymore. They were breathing. Fighting. Living. Loving. And that, in the end, was the only empire worth building. If that hit deep, show some love, K-Soul family. Like, comment, and subscribe before you go. The next story's already loading. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. Your next incredible story is just one click away.